Welcome to More to Know on Daily Ad Brief. I'm your host, Kent Lewis. Joining me today from Hillsboro, Oregon is Erich Garcia with Quote.com. Welcome to the show, Erich.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Now, can you, in 30 seconds or less, give us the quick, tell us a little bit about yourself, the quick background?
Yeah, happy to. I'm currently the Vice President of Search Engine Marketing for Quote.com. I've been in the industry a little over a decade now, both agency and in-house. Quote.com is one of the oldest existing financial portals, first established in 1993. Currently a book of sites driving leads in finance, insurance, and healthcare.
So I'm curious, how did you fall into the SEO industry? It's always an interesting question to ask for those because there's no formal degree in SEO.
I think, like a lot of people, went to school for marketing and largely thought it was creative based. So when I initially got out of school, I fell into digital marketing sales and was introduced to search engine optimization at the time. And it was, I like to say my first love in the digital marketing realm. From there, pretty early on, I recognized that it was right as Google ads was taking off, and that just appealed to me a lot more. So I pivoted pretty early on in my career and went largely towards the paid side of media.
Okay, great. So you took the most natural, least friction approach, which is good. Tell me about one of the questions we like to ask is about CTV, connected TV, and I thought you had an interesting answer. Just the idea of where do you see it fitting in the sales funnel and supporting that sales funnel to make it more interesting to you and Quote.com, even if SEO is your background. I'd love your thoughts on CTV.
I think it's a necessity in this day and age. Privacy concerns and everything we're dealing with aside, the ability and the tracking that exists through CTV just doesn't exist on terrestrial kind of classic TV buys. When you're working in a performance industry and getting everything down to the dollar, which is largely what I've done throughout my career, CTV just ends up being another arrow in the quiver, and one that's a natural extension of any digital media that you're doing. I think it's a necessity moving forward in this industry.
Cool. I appreciate that. I think you're right. It's when I was growing up, there were 3 broadcast networks and some radio stations, and now it's the wild world of internet and streaming and so forth. Now, my last question that you can spend a little time on if you want, then we may have others, but is where do you see advertising and marketing going? And you can focus just on SEO if you'd like. That's my background as well. You've been in it a decade. Where do you see this going in terms of, what you follow most closely day to day? 2 to 5 years is what I'm thinking.
I think there's so much up in the air right now. Every 5 to 7 years, it feels like there's been a big shoe to drop inside of our industry. We're currently balancing 2 things right now, with the cookie being deprecated at the same time with GDPR in Europe and then CCPA here. The cross-section of those 2 things and how they pan out is going to dictate a lot of what this industry does. On the privacy concern side, we're already seeing the pinch of this transactional thing that we've had with the internet, to where we go to a website, we get the information that we want, and the entire time the user has been the product. Now with opt-ins starting to mold to that CCPA, the margins have started to erode, and we start to see more paywalls coming up. So that's a very interesting consideration. And then we've got the deprecation of the cookies. So you've got 2 large conglomerations, it's basically Google versus everybody else on what is going to be the technology moving forward. So there's a lot up in the air right now that our industry needs to work through because we haven't done it a little bit earlier. So there's a lot of big players involved, and I think the cross-section of those 2 things is really going to dictate what happens moving forward.
Well, thank you for that input. I tend to agree with you, and we'll see where it goes in the months and years to come. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. So I want to thank you, Erich, for sharing your insights and your thoughts with us. To find out more about this episode's guest and more details about the topic, please visit dailyadbrief.com. And we'll hope you'll join us next time on More to Know.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.